Yep, a lot of Israelites got the Cypher syndrome, man. Giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakah Kadash Barakatah Yahweh Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle, elder bishops, great millstone. Much salutation to the brothers teaching word for the hopeful elect, soon to be the elect, most high will. To the hopeful extended elect, shalom, blessings. You know, if you know the Matrix, Cypher played the sellout. And it says everyone in the Matrix is encoded with a number. I guess this is somebody's opinion. I don't know. Cypher's role is to decode the Matrix, enabling the crew of the Nebuchadnezzar to identify each person trapped inside. The problem is the word for decode is decipher, so that Cypher's name is opposite to his alleged role in the movie. Actual meaning of Cypher's name is encode, which is to assign each person a number who is trapped in the Matrix. And I'll get his quotes. But that's kind of like what we do. We decode this matrix, that's been encrypted, basically here in America. And we're ciphering this Bible too. Let me get the word cipher right quick. Cypher. I think it's spelled like this. They spell it a different way in the Matrix. A cipher is an algorithm or mathematical process used to perform encryption or decryption, essentially turning readable text into a secure secret code to keep information safe. Like a cipher is essential to securing digital communication and is widely used across technology, language, and mathematics. Definitely, we do talk in code, and they do have an algorithm to pick up certain words, to track certain, individuals in this matrix. Matrix is in the Bible. It's a word for womb, like a woman's womb that a baby comes out of. It's Rukam. So some of his quotes. Cypher is played by Joe Pantoliano. Sounds like he's an Italian. I believe he's a Jake. Most likely. Delivers some of the most memorable and deliciously nihilistic lines in the Matrix, driven by his exhaustion and desire for a comfortable life. See, they want a comfortable life here in America. His dialogue perfectly captures the thematic conflict between the harsh truth and comforting illusion. What's the truth? That we're in hell, that this is not the place of comfort. So here's some of his famous, iconic quotes. It says, I know this steak doesn't exist. That's when he was in the Matrix. He was eating steak, and I know that when I put it in my mouth, the Matrix is telling my brain that it's juicy and delicious. After 9 years, what I realized? Ignorance is bliss. Basically, like, he rather live in this make-believe world, to eating fake food, Now, we know we eat our food defiled among the Gentiles, but we still in hell. We know we looking for a kingdom to come. It says we won't have a continual city. Look forward to one that will come. Most High will. So even though, Jake is getting used to the norm here, or making it normal, or it's becoming normal to him, we still know it to be hell. I don't want to continue to grow up in a world with fake food, artificial intelligence, artificial flavors, and all that. You know, you might not even have to eat no more. When they hook you up to that neural link, you'll just eat in the virtual world, you know. And this is when he had a problem with Morpheus, and the problem with the actual order of things that was, you know, given down through Morpheus and the rest of the crew members, of how they operated on the ship, how in and out of the Matrix they still, you know, was taught to, you know, when you're in the Matrix, don't stay too long. You know, they went through training programs, and they said, you know, when you see an agent run, that's one of his quotes. I'll read it though. Yeah, one of his quotes was free. When he sold out, he said free, because that's what we're telling you in the truth. It said, Yahweh Shai said, you know, we are free in the truth. He said, if I tell you you are free indeed. The truth shall make you free. And this is basically him, you know, relating to the truth. You call this free. All I do is do what he tells me to do. Like, you know, that's what they think about the apostles. You know, we just do what they tell us to do. If I had to choose between that, and the Matrix, I choose the Matrix. They want America to go on. They want just a regular life. They want out of the truth. Neo started out like that, but he was like, he began to have faith. He began to like, man, we could really got something here. We could really do this. He said, so they rather choose to be in this world and be left alone. But you know, it's already in their conscience. The truth is already in their conscience. So it says, you know, in the scriptures, it would have been the best that you have not tasted the truth at all. And it said that he that knoweth his master's will be beaten with many stripes, but he that didn't, few stripes. So it could be detrimental, and it could be a plague in your mind when if you choose to go out back into the world. They even had that where Neo tried to leave, and she's, you know, Trinity is telling Neo, like, yeah, you know, this movie in 1999, so it's well over 26 years, you know, so it's no spoiler. But she said, you know where that road goes, you know exactly where it leads. And he said, he go on to say, I'm tired, Trinity, tired of this war. What do the prophets teach about? Prophesy war, pestilence. That's all we're gonna talk about. Like the prophecies, the things that's going on that people really don't want to face. Prophesy of war. Let me get that right quick. And look, there's a time for war. Ecclesiastes 3:8, a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. We're in the time of war. I gotta type it in, man. Prophets prophesied, prophets before. Let me see those keywords. Right? I know it's in Jeremiah. Jeremiah 28:8, it says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and the pestilence. And you might say, well, you know, that was old. It says of old, the prophets of old, or before thee of old. But it talks about the spirit of the prophet subject in the prophets, subject into the prophets. So even in this new time, so-called new time, because there's nothing really new under the sun. It says that in Ecclesiastes, nothing new. Where shall there be anything that said this is new? No, this is of old. So, and so this is where we are. We're prophesying again against Babylon, prophesying against, which is modern day America, prophesying against the evils and the wickedness of this world, the debauchery of this world, the sodomy of this world, the you know the witchcraft of this world, you know, the ill doing, the deceit. It says, he says, I'm tired, Trinity, tired of this war, tired of fighting. See, what this talks about in the truth says, fight the good fight. They don't want to fight no more. Giving up their, it says, 1 Timothy 6:12, it says, fight the good fight of faith, lay hold on eternal life, whereunto thou art also called, and hast professed a good profession before many witnesses. This is the good profession. 2 Timothy 4:6, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. And then, you know, like I said, one point in the movie, when Neo turned around to fight the agent, Trinity said, "What are you doing?" And she said, and you know, Morpheus looking on said he's beginning to have faith. So another, it says, I'm tired of this ship. I'm tired of the ship. And this is basically a representation of the ship, because Most High will, we're going to be on that ship. So this is the ark, the spiritual ark. They're tired of being on it, being cold, you know, because this is a cold life we live in, man. Eating the same goddamn goop every day. And we have most likely minimized our eating habits to where we don't go out there and eat luxury, you know. We don't eat go out there and eat like $100 course meals and all that, fancy meals, elite type of meals. We, you know, grab a bite to eat, you know, get, you know, quick meals type. We might have lentils and, you know, sandwiches and shit. You know what I'm saying? We don't eat what we really desire to eat. And then for health's sake, definitely for health's sake, man. If you had told us the truth, that's when he was talking to Morpheus, we would have told you to shove the red pill right up your ass, because there's a red pill and a blue pill. The red pill, you know, you go into the truth and, you know, see where the rabbit hole takes you, basically, to see all the things that you got to be taught to survive the matrix. But blue pill, you just go on with your regular life and believe what you want to believe. So that's what Jake want to do. He want to just like, okay, let me just dream and just believe that this ain't even real. But it's going to kick him in the ass sideways when that martial law come with Jacob's trouble. All these events happen, man. When draconian laws come, like we always say. Another quote was, it means buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, Kansas, because Kansas is going bye-bye. It refers to Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, when she got trapped in a tornado, and, you know, growing up in Kansas, being in Kansas as a home, and she went to a wonderland, you know. Basically, he was referring to this as a wonderland. Like, you're gonna see some stuff. You're gonna basically go inside of a computer program like he did. But like, this is in some way similar to a computer program, because everything is simulation, everything is AI, everything is digital based. You know, we operate on phones, computers, TV. Nothing's, you know, got fake plants in the house, fake food, and we can't help this stuff. This is what they have available. But we can't drain ourselves and, you know, with it, to be always online connected with it. And if you are online, you make it beneficial. Read about history, watch videos, watch, you know, apostles and elders, bishops and so forth. And then it says, surprised as how I bet you never saw this coming, did you? So he sells out Morpheus. So that, our people be selling us out, man. All I see is when commenting on reading the Matrix code, he said all I see is blonde, brunette, and redhead. And when we teach them or tell them the Bible and the words and the scriptures, that's all they see is like, I don't understand what y'all saying. I don't want to really read into it like that. I just, they just want to have fun and enjoy the good parts of the scriptures. They don't want to decode it and go into the matrix of it. They don't want to, they like, well, what is it? So what about Cornelius? So what about, America being Babylon? You know what I'm saying? What does that matter? Those things are important. But, they rather not exercise themselves accordingly. And then he had another quote. He talked about killing, something that Dozer made, the big guy that was born original Zion human, made. And he said it had amino acids, which is really good for you. It's really a thing called amino acids. Let me look that up right quick. Amino acids are organic molecules that serve as the primary building blocks of proteins. And he said all the protein you need. Every amino acid features a core structure consisting of a central carbon atom bonded to a basic amino group and an acidic carboxyl group, a hydrogen atom, and a unique side chain. Degreasing engines matrix. That's what he quoted to Neo when he told him to take it. He said, Cypher quote. So that's another thing too. They don't want to eat bitterness or experience bitterness. It says, good for two things, degreasing, he was kind of joking, and killing brain cells. But it was really good for you because that's what he said, Dozer said about it, that it was amino acids, all the protein you need. So, when they sit down at the table, opposed to being in the matrix, they eat the same food. It looked like basically oatmeal, or he called it goop, But in the matrix world, he's eating steak and all that the enjoyable foods, and so he sold out. So I mean, yeah, he said while coughing about that Matrix scene with Cypher, he said while coughing after drinking a glass of the crew's homemade highly protein moonshine brewed by the character Dozer, Cypher jokes that the beverage is good for two things, degreasing engines and killing brain cells. And he also said it's going to be men that's going to get spiritual powers. I mean, in real life, like the Most High is, they were healing in real life back then. Yahweh Shai was doing miracles back then. The disciples they were healing and all that back then. They had spiritual powers. And it said the enemy shall come in like a flood. Now, this particular scene right here, Cypher saying in the Matrix, he tried to discourage Nero by saying, yeah, and he said after 9 years of eating tasteless goop, living in a desolate wasteland, and constantly fighting for survival, Cypher decided that ignorance is bliss. Yeah, because he said after 9 years, you know what? Ignorance is bliss. Where's that other part? Man? Seeing the agent run. Yeah. So when Neo's about to say, he said, "Did he tell you why he did it? So you're here to save the world, right?" Let me see. I think it's on down. And here, and the Most High said we should become, it'll be saviors coming out of Zion. He said, what a mind job. Yeah, I'll read it. It says, so you're here to save the world. What do you say to something like that? Like, and we're really not here to save the whole world. We're here to save the elect. Our job is to save, go out there in highways and byways to bring the elect in, But, we are kind of going to be like saviors because this whole world is hijacked by basically Satan, And Most High is going to give us the power to turn it right side up. It says, we're here to save the world. So what do you say to something like that? A little piece of advice. I think they ain't saying the whole quote. He said, what a mind job, I think. And look, he said, regretting the red pill, he said, actually, I've been thinking it ever since I got here. Why, oh, why didn't I take the blue pill? That's how he said. But, and a lot of dudes are in the truth, and they've been thinking to leave all this time. It's just, they want a right time, to them, they want a right time to leave, man. But, let me see. Yeah, it ain't popping up. Let's see. So you're here to save the world, he says. He said, when you see a little piece of advice, you see an agent, you do what we do, run. You run your ass off. So basically, if we develop spiritual powers, that's what our people be telling us. Like, you see them come in like a flood, you run your ass, man. But the Most High going to put the spirit on us to not. And I don't know, I'm not trying to predict what would happen to, overall outcome. But, let me see. Quote, you're here to save the world. Did he tell you why he did it? And it's like the Most High, like he brought us down here to represent his name, his son's name, represent Yahweh Yahushai, and represent the truth and the Holy Spirit, so that we can be saved, so we can pull those ones that need to be saved, of the elect out of the fire that's coming, the judgment that's coming. Did he tell you why he did it? Neo nods. I bet he didn't tell you that this wasn't the first time he thought he found the one. He said Morpheus' prophecies, viewing them as a mind job, feeling tricked by the grim reality that they were promised. He yearned for the blissful ignorance of the simulation, claiming ignorance is bliss. Yeah. Yep. And you know, his thing was to go back into the matrix, and he don't want to remember anything. He want to be a star and all that. I forget exactly what he said, but that's what they want. They don't want to remember what they learned of the truth. But it's going to be a plague in their mind, and you know, that's why they get more demons on them. It tells you that in the scriptures too. When they leave, 7 more demons. You know, but they don't want to remember anything. They don't want to, and they want to be a star. They want to be somebody. That's why they come out with these videos and like, why I left the truth, why I left GMS, why I'm no longer an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? Trying to fill that void. But it won't give me the exact quote. What a mind job. Anyway, I don't want to make this too long. It says, and they always say, they always put that Jesus in there. You scared the bejesus out of me. And Jesus, did he tell you why he did it? Jesus, what a mind job. You know? And there's more quotes, you know. And I'll probably do some future quotes from, you know, not only him, but from the other characters and related to the Bible. Leaving the real world behind. It means fasten your seat belt because Kansas is going bye-bye. So, you know, basically leaving all that what you learned in the real world, in this world, to, you know, find out what's going on. Because right now, the world we speak about, the kingdom and things spiritual, our people don't really relate to it because, you know, even with prophecy, it's not happening now. So they be like, what are y'all talking about? Talking about war and enemy shall come in like a flood, man. And, you know, they ain't gonna do nothing to us, man. Stuff like that, you know. Especially when it goes back, the earth goes, you know, when it's nothing really happening, so-called. If you have to choose between doing maybe, so yeah. And you know, our people go back to church and they'll look at the Jesus character and Sejabajit, and they know that Sejabajit. Like he knew that steak. He said he know it doesn't exist. You know, he know about the Matrix that it's not real, but he still uses that as a defense to say, I think the Matrix is real. But he just said himself, you know, I know the steak doesn't exist. I know that when I put it in my mouth, he's talking to the agent. The Matrix is telling me my brain that it's juicy and delicious. After 9 years, you know what I realized? Ignorance is bliss. They play the piano or harp. And, you know, and that's what Jake is. He's like, he know this shit ain't real. He know that there's racism out there. He know how the so-called white man been since he put us in slavery. He know that Jesus' character is not really the real son of God. But, and, you know, sometimes black women know it too. But you know what? Like this quote right here, ignorance is bliss. I think it talks about ignorance too in the scriptures. Let me get that and close out. And what it say? It says, prophesy unto us lies, prophesy deceits. I hope I spelled it right. It's this way, I think. Damn it. Let me get that. Isaiah 30:10 would say to the seer, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not, and to us right things, speak to us smooth things, prophesy deceit. So they know it's deceitful. They just want to hear it. Ignorance is bliss. You know, I know that we at the end of the world. I know, God's going to judge me for my sins and all that. But look, I just want to make believe and make it seem like it's not that. Get a scripture, maybe in Psalms or Proverbs. Having understanding darkened, Ephesians 14:4-18, being alienated from the life of God through the Most High, Yahweh Yahushua, through the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their heart, their mind, man. Ignorance is bliss. As obedient children, not fashion yourselves according to the form of lust in your ignorance, 1 Peter 1:14. So, yeah, that's how they want to live. What would it say? Let him that is wicked, let him be wicked still. Anyway, I went too far. It's probably going to take 2 days to load this up. But anyway, Shalom, blessing to you sincere brothers out there still fighting and still believing, still having faith. Shalom.